They do not know what Sactown brings.
Live and local, it's The Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Here we go. As we get ready for the Kings and the Hawks. Nice enough to join us. You know, every time he comes on, we mention that he's an all-time Kings icon. Further proof of that last night when Coach Christie was talking to the media, and he said, there's only two people who have sat in this seat who understand the pain of Kings fans. He said Rick Adelman, and he said our next guest, the one and only Jerry Reynolds. How did that feel, Jerry, to be name-checked by Coach Christie?
Well, he would be accurate. We certainly, Rick and I would certainly qualify, and but I mean, there's certainly no pain in talking to Jay and Kayla and you.
Thank
obviously,
you.
So nice.
Just simply is an honor, an absolute honor.
Wow, that's nice, Jerry. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
that must be because Kayla's here, Whitey. Wasn't because of me and you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You got a question for Jerry? Anything you want to ask
You know,
him, Kayla?
Jerry, I feel privileged to be able to be speaking to you today. And I know you have been and seen a lot in terms of the NBA. So I want to just go right out and ask you, what is one of your most favorite unique stories in terms of the NBA and what you have maybe seen or heard?
She's setting you up, Jer.
Well, that's a great question. You mean recently or ever?
Yeah, let's start recently. Yeah, because I'm interested to see like what is interesting or unique to you now.
Well, the thing that sort of interests me right now is the San Antonio Spurs, and Wembanyama is looking like the guy he was supposed to be as a rookie. In other words, he's certainly a one of one, but in my mind, until you start winning, stats don't mean much. And he looks like to me that, yes, he's very capable of leading the Spurs into contention. And so that's to me a new look. I mean that obviously they hadn't even made the playoffs yet.
Yeah.
So, but I mean I think they're capable of really contending with Oklahoma City and Denver, primarily because of him. Although they've got an awfully good young team.
Jerry, there's been a lot of talk around here this week, the last couple of days, of maybe the Kings are going into a rebuild. You mentioned San Antonio. It's interesting to me because they hit the jackpot, got Wembanyama, but it still is taking them time to get there. My question is, realistically, how long do you think it would take for a team like the Kings maybe to get back to where they're relevant if they do head into a rebuild?
Well, I think they're in a tough spot because, how many picks can they get? What kind of cap room can they get? Because you can't get in the free agent market if you don't have significant cap room. I always go back to when it turned for us in 98, 99, the lockout season, and we're able to kind of go from bad to pretty good right away. But it was probably another year before the team, a little more significant, but my point was being it went to being a 27-23 in the lockout season, but the difference was change coaches, and the coach was Rick Adelman. Turned out pretty good actually, and then had two lottery picks at the same time because Peja Stojakovic and Jason Williams joined the team. So you had two young stars types, and then you also had a really great asset to trade, which was Mitch Richmond, to get a great asset, which was Weber. And then you also had cap room. Did not match an offer on Brian Grant, but that money then was used to get Vlade Divac. So what I'm saying is, if you need some things in place, and right now, they're going to have to find a way to get cap room because you can't just do it through the draft. You'd be like Philly was 15 years ago, trust the process, and 7 years later, you're still winning 15 games. So I mean, you've got to be able to get draft picks, certainly, and then also be able to make trades that are significant trades that help you, and at some point, and then also free agency. I mean, if you look at Oklahoma City or Indiana, the two finalists last year, that was kind of their blueprint, but it wasn't. They drafted well, but equally important was free agent signings and trades. So it's a combination of all three.
Jerry, when you're a young coach in this league and you're a first-time coach like Doug Christie is here as the head coach, there's a lot of things that are going to come your way right away if you're not winning, obviously. But what about Doug Christie screams to you like he can have success, he can be a future, successful head coach?
Yeah, I'm a Doug Christie fan. I mean, I know he really has a great understanding of the game from not just a player's perspective, but he studied it, and he really is dedicated, and I think he really can be a player's coach, which is probably something you have to be a little more of in today's game. I think it's a case of, as a young coach like he is, there is a little bit of learning on the job, and the tough thing for him, and I've always said, there's only two things you can do once you have your roster. That's try to motivate him and utilize them correctly. Well, he's got a roster that's quite honestly kind of unbalanced, and I mean, you could motivate five guards, get them sky high, and they're still going to get their butts beat,
Mm-hmm. I feel, Jerry, like Doug, when he talks about laying the foundation for this team of being a team that picks up 94 feet, playing defense, I feel like he's putting down new flooring, but then he's got the guys that are currently on the roster, and they're standing on it, and he can't put it down until those guys are gone. You know what I mean?
Well, it's tough. What's really tough is when you get, guys that are 30 years old or been in the league a long time and established a lot of success playing the way they play.
Yeah.
It's guys just aren't, it's like, hey, I can go somewhere else and do what I do. So it's really a tough situation there, and I mean, even if they're, say, willing to try, it doesn't mean they have kind of the wherewithal to do it. I mean, it's it'd be kind of like saying, well, yeah, you'd like to have Brad Miller back in his day press all up 94 feet. Well, that's not going to work.
Wouldn't work, yeah.
Even if he wanted to do it.
When it comes to, though, some of those young players that are on the team right now and that he can help mold right away, one of those guys is clearly Nick Clifford. What have you seen early on from him? And I'm sure we'll get to see his minutes increase.
Boy, I like him. I mean, he really is an all-around player. He's got a real game. Kind of with this team, you wish he was 2 or 3 inches taller, but I mean, he can play several positions. I think, to me, and I've said this before, I think you've just got to find 20 minutes a game for him some way. You're going to have to take him away from somebody, but he's got a chance to be really good, and find out, more about him. He plays with a lot of confidence. He's got handling skills. He shoots the three easy. He's one of those rare guys that as a young player, that the game looks fairly easy for him. Mm-hmm. I mean, the game's not easy, but only the really good ones can make them look that way.
It seems to me, Coach, that when he does get called for a foul or something and he kind of doesn't understand, he gives the officials a quizzical look, but it doesn't bother him. He plays through that. He learns, and he doesn't get flustered by it.
Yeah, maybe as he gets older, he'll learn to pout and whine and whimper. I mean, maybe we got that to look forward to. I hope not.
Jerry, it's crazy. Russell Westbrook, one of the greatest of all times when it's all said and done, I'm sure, at that position. comes in, and I don't think everybody was expecting him to do what he's done. Some may have, but what has surprised you or not surprised you the most about Wes?
Well, what hasn't surprised me is he busts his hump. I mean, that guy is one of the hardest working, most competitive players I've ever seen. That guy, he wants to play every game, every minute, and he plays every play. Now, he's not the player he was when he's 27, but it is remarkable to me also. The thing that surprised me the most is his outside shooting looks better than ever has. Certainly his corner three. I mean, he's stroking the ball very nice. And Russ was never, even in his early days when he was at his peak, he was not a great shooter. He was just a great, great player.
Yeah. How about, not to pile on him here, but Dennis Schroeder, we know that he's a better shooter than he's showing right now, and we know that he's been hobbled a little bit. When I see him shoot, Coach, I feel like either he's lost his confidence right now or he's hurt or something, because it just doesn't look good coming out of his hand.
Yeah, it doesn't, and it doesn't look good when it doesn't go in the basket either, does it?
That's true. Yeah.
No, he's really I know he's a better player than he's playing, but he hasn't been effective at all. I mean, to be honest, I think he had one game where it looked like we thought he would, where he scored a little bit, and his assist to turnover ratio was good. So I think that's obviously been a negative. I mean, I don't want to jump on him or anything, but he's not playing very well, and that doesn't make it easier on Coach Christie either, because he was brought in here to kind of be a leader and to direct the team, and right now he's not directing it very well.
When it comes to, playing all four quarters, and we hear this all the time, and, you can't play perfectly, but especially with a team that has deficiencies like the Kings.
You can't play perfectly?
Well, maybe you can.
Well, somebody said you did back in your softball days. I heard
you were
that.
listening. You were listening.
Yeah,
I wish I were that perfect. I'd be playing in college. But for three quarters, essentially, against the Nuggets last night, they played well, but the fourth quarters, it's like that fourth quarter comes along, Jerry, and you almost can feel like, okay, that's where we're going to see the gap start to happen, and then there's no catching up. Is there anything they can do with the roster they have right now to close games better?
Well, the thing that was surprising to me about that is that was with Jokic off the floor.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised by that. They really, of course, Murray was kind of the one main guy out there with reserves, and they just really took over. I thought the defensive intensity for them did pick up, and the Kings didn't handle it very well. Really, I thought took some tougher shots and got a little sloppy with the ball, and I'm sure that was a surprise to Coach Christie. I think it was a surprise to Coach Adelman, for that matter, too.
Yeah.
But to your point is, probably for 42 minutes they played them even. But that stretch, and especially it was surprised me how the Kings bench in the first half was much better than the Nuggets. But there in the fourth, their bench was outstanding. Now, I don't know if they can do that every night, but they did. But to your point, that's a great question. I don't know. I really think the only thing that Coach Mike can do is during the game, you might find some surprises of guys. He's playing 10 or 11 guys. Make sure maybe if it looks like it's getting off track, make sure that whoever's been playing well's on the floor. That's about all you can do, I think. And it's like Murray made a couple of really tough shots.
Yeah.
He was really well defended, and sometimes you just say, I don't know. Other than trying to curse at him or something, which I would have done, but
I love it.
But then I wasn't a very classy person.
Oh, we're already friends. We're already friends.
Who was the most difficult shot maker you've ever seen? A guy that he had made that a habit, like taking those. No. Wow, what a shot.
Boy, well, there's so many. I mean, Reggie Miller comes to mind. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Jordan, but he didn't have to take tough shots for the most part. he was so good. You go back to those days, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's so many great players, and I always say that a guy that's kind of been forgotten that was truly great, an older player, Bernard King, could really make tough shots. Yeah, because he really used the backboard so well, and lost art in today's game.
Yeah.
So I think of a modern player that I always just was amazed at, or more modern, was Manu Ginobili.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was so creative. Mm-hmm. You just think he can't get to the basket that way, or he has no angle for that shot, but, it's kind of why he's in the Hall of Fame, I guess.
Yeah, that and the bat thing, of course. It's time for Jay to ask you his throwback question of the week. What do we got, Jay?
Yeah, Legend, I was watching the program yesterday, Kings and the Nuggets, and we saw a few highlights, and people around here in the city talked about how we only had the 2002 look, and, it was only that team. But a few that I saw with the Nuggets was David Thompson, and the gentleman that I want to ask you about is Alex English, who's a Hall of Famer. But and I don't know how you phrase this, but to say I feel like he's a forgotten Hall of Famer. He's someone that doesn't get anointed as one of the greatest. Took him a few years. I did some research yesterday because I wasn't up on Alex as I probably needed to be. Took him a few years to kind of get that scoring going, but once he established it, I mean, 8-time All-Star, over 23-time All-Star, Hall of Famer, so on and so forth. Two questions. Alex English, what do you remember about him? And what happened and why weren't the Denver Nuggets able to do anything in the 80s when he was the guy in the playoffs?
Well, that's a lot of questions. I'm going to give you a lot of answers here. One thing, Alex was an assistant coach for the Kings for a while.
I didn't know that.
Well, that's why I'm giving you information, Jay. You need to know stuff. But he.
Do you remember what years?
Not really. It
okay,
seemed like,
I'll look it up.
I'm not sure, but really, what a good guy. But anyway, of course, I followed his career from South Carolina to being a second-round pick with the Pacers to then finding his niche, with the Nuggets. And, absolutely. He's a guy that should have been in the top 75 all time in my mind. As I think Whitey pointed out, I mean, I think he's kind of been one of those great players that's kind of been forgotten a little bit. Of course, I was unlucky enough to coach against him, and we could never guard him, so that's that. But nobody else could either. But the other thing, one of the reasons they couldn't do more in the West is there's a team, I don't know if you're aware of this, called the Showtime Lakers.
No, I never heard of them. I put them out of my mind.
Pretty good?
Yeah. So that's kind of like the Milwaukee Bucks teams of Don Nelson in the years in the East. It's like, well, no, there was the Celtics.
Right.
And so they could win 55 games and thank you very much. See you next year. Mm-hmm. But no, they were one of those teams that were going to win 55 games, and he was going to get 30 a game and do it so effortlessly. I think that was the thing that surprised me. And,
what was his superpower?
About Alex English, nothing but good things.
What was his superpower, Legend? Most people remember him for scoring.
Well, that's what they should have remembered him for.
Right.
He wasn't going to be confused as a stopper defensively. But I mean, I think he was almost effortless in how he could score. It looked effortless. Again, he was very long-armed, surprising. I think it fooled people. He had a lot of length for a 6'7" guy. He was way longer than that, 6'8", and just shot the ball with a real quick, surprisingly quick delivery. I always thought just talking to players that tried to guard him, and they always say they thought they were on him and the ball's away. One of those guys. And but he didn't, of course, those days didn't shoot a lot of threes, but he was kind of a mid-range guy like DeMar, except he really didn't use many dribbles.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of those guys that he was going to escape dribble, but his release was so good that it's hard to get to him. But yeah, truly great player, great guy.
And he shot 51% for his career, Jerry.
Geez.
So
and
hyper efficient, right?
Wild.
Yeah, it's one of those guys too. It didn't seem like he ever took a bad shot. I'm sure he did, but of course against us, he probably didn't have to take any bad shots.
There was one time one year he put 29.8. What year was that? That was 85, 86. I mean, he was putting up 30, just 23, 8, 25, 28, 26, 27, 29.
And, he had other big scorers with him. Dan Issel was
right.
A huge scorer, great player, and Pat Lever, probably another one of the more underrated, who was with the Kings for a number of years, but really one of the more underrated players, I think, because he was a great defender as well. But like you say, they, when you got down to it, hey, they weren't as good as Magic, Kareem, and Worthy. That's all.
Mm-hmm. No shame in that.
No shame in that.
Yeah. Before we let you go, I wanted to circle back and ask you one thing about this rebuild, because I know some people around here have been saying the Kings have never really gone through a rebuild, and I think you disagree with that. I apologize if I'm wrong. Have the Sacramento Kings ever gone through what you'd consider a full rebuild?
Well, I thought the Kings did. In 90, 98, 99 type thing. I mean, it was clearly coming off a real poor season where Eddie Jordan was the coach and Mitch Richmond got hurt late, and then the team won 24 games and had lost, I think, 18 out of 19 late, that sort of thing. That's about as bad as you can get. And so there wasn't many players from that team that came back and played because, like I say, you had with Peja and Jay Will, they were new, as was Vlade and Weber. So it was that was pretty much a complete turnover. New coach as well.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that there'd be much demand around the league for any of the Kings' big contracts right now?
Today, probably not.
Yeah.
But I mean that changes.
Yeah.
I always say when Bradley Beal gets traded, that means anybody can be traded.
Is that what you always say?
That's what I always say.
Gotcha. Thank you for your time, Coach. We appreciate it very, very much.
Well, nice talking to you all, and have a good rest of the day.
All right, enjoy the game. Thanks,
See you
Jerry.
guys.
Yeah, the one and only Jerry Reynolds.
Dude, my favorite part was when he was like, I would have cussed him out. And I go, yeah, that's my kind of coach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's like, can't do that now.
Yeah. Alex English today, huh, Jay? I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's actually one of those guys that if you didn't have the opportunity to really watch him in the 80s, I wasn't here, and for a lot of his career, starting in the late 70s. And then coming up, I was young. So, just got to get a little research in on Alex English.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Hall of Famer, 8-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. Why don't we talk about him more?
Because he was so smooth and he was just kind of unassuming, and he wasn't flashy, and he just did his job very, very well on teams that weren't, they were overshadowed by so many other
They weren't
all-time great teams of that
Rockets
era.
in the 80s still. Portland had great teams in the 80s as well. Yeah, makes sense. Of course, the Lakers, which I was hoping Jerry didn't bring them up.
Of course, he's like, the Showtime.
Yeah.
The Lakers.
What are you thinking tonight, Jay? Atlanta Hawks coming in.
Normally you say,
oh, you smell something.
I'm smelling a win today,
Oh,
baby.
do you?
I'm smelling a W.
Yeah.
And it ain't the ribs.
I'm smelling a W too.
See?
I am.
See?
I think you got to get one at home here before you leave.
It's a good team.
It is a good team. No
Where-
one.
where
Yeah,
you going?
every
Something.
team.
Where you going, White?
I smell something.
You
Talking about
smell
ribs. I
something
think I
stanky?
smelled Domas's ribs. I think you got some,
no.
some
Cooked?
salve or something on it that I'm
Cooked ribs?
I hope.
Tiger Bomb?
Yeah,
Tiger
something.
Bomb?
Tiger
It's
Bomb.
Very pungent. Yeah.
Dang.
You don't smell a W?
Sure.
Hey, we got him, Jay.
Absolutely.
Oh, peer
Got
pressure.
him.
Peer
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
You wasn't too convincing of that. You were. What'd you say about Alex English? He was What'd you say he was?
He's unassuming.
Unassuming. Yeah, you
Yeah.
were unassuming there a little bit.
All
was.
right. Thank you, Kayla. We
Thanks,
appreciate it very
guys.
much.
It's so fun.
Thanks for
Like
hanging
always.
out. We're back with you tomorrow, celebrating this Kings win that everyone's
There we go.
smelling. Yeah. And
Smell
win
it.
or lose, you know that the saga continues, and we'll have lots more drama one way or the other, and that's what we're here for. So stick around, because we got game night coming up. The high flyer Henry Turner, the low flyer Scott Marsh, and game night next on Sactown Sports.